Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 26 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series. I am going to finish up this crazy minecart transport system that we started last episode. Now, in case you guys weren't paying attention or happened to miss last episode, I set up this nifty setup that should handle the transport of item, liquid, and player cards to and from my mining system. So no longer do I have to run over there. I just hop in this minecart and immediately I get teleported straight across and I land in on this side and I'll get deposited here. The minecart will sit and wait, and then once I get back in on this side, it's going to teleport me back to the other side of things, and we'll get kicked off here. Now, one thing I have noticed is it looked like to me, like most of the time, the cart was maintaining its momentum, but for whatever reason, it looks like when players are in it, it's not. So just hit the forward button, and it'll kick you forward, and you'll be in good shape. So you don't have to worry too much about that. Let's see what's going on this side. Boom, popped over, and ta-da! Nice, right? So I might set up some booster tracks on the other side just to make things a little bit easier. Let's do that now. So I'm going to want some booster tracks and the redstone torch, of course. And we'll just replace these guys right like so. There we go. That should just make things run a little smoother, right? And this episode, we're going to set up the configuration for the items and liquids. So let's get started taking a look at what's involved in getting all that up and running. Hooray! It's working pretty well, actually. I'm pretty pleased. So now, for items and liquids, there's two things we're going to need. Basically, we're going to need loaders and unloaders. So if we take a look up NEI here, loaders, we'll see that there's some basic ones and some advanced ones. The basics should suffice for our needs. So we'll need an item loader and an item unloader. And then we're also going to need a fluid loader and a fluid unloader. Not too shabby. You'll notice that they also contain detectors inside them, and that's an important thing to note. So the item loader, pretty easy to make. The item unloader, pretty easy to make. Why don't I get started crafting these and then come back? I think we'll do items first. So let's get ourselves some wood and a couple other things, and I'll see you in a minute once I've got all the required resources ready to go. Alright, let's handle this side first because that's where we're at. I'm going to snag this minecart with a chest in it. Cool. And we'll see what we can put together. So right probably here is where I want to have my item unloader. What this block does is it unloads items from minecart chests. Pretty straightforward, right? Now we're going to want to go ahead and have the same setup we had earlier. We want a boarding mode locking track. So what will happen is the cart will come here and it'll get stuck on this block until this block receives a redstone signal. Now the item unloader is a pretty nifty mechanic. I think it'll go ahead and deposit to an adjacent chest, but let's see. So we've got item unloader here, and there's a couple configurations you can put. In all mode, you can configure this item unloader to just move everything into the adjacent chest. But you can also specify exactly what items to transfer, or try and keep a buffer of items stocked inside the item unloader, or transfer any items in the filter and move the rest. So there's a bunch of different modes you can have here, and you can filter it to specify exactly which items are allowed to be moved. We don't have to worry about any of that, though, because all we really want to do is make sure that everything that's in the chest gets dumped into this chest. Okay, everything inside the chest cart, that is. Now, this is the condition for when it's going to emit a redstone signal. So right now, it's set to immediate. So if there's no items that were transferred, go ahead and emit a redstone signal. We really don't want that configuration. We want to emit redstone when complete. And what that means is it'll emit a redstone signal when the chest cart is completely empty, which is what we want. So you can see here what it'll do is it'll just kick the cart back once it's empty of its goods. So let's do the following. Let's see. I'm going to put this guy right. All right, that probably wasn't a good idea. Let's go here. All right. Okay. Let's go get that cart back. Alright guys, I found out something interesting, and this should absolutely go a long way. So let's take a look. When I send the minecart through here, he should teleport to the other side of the world. Cool. And I'm going to get over there myself and see that, yep, he landed right here. So this is where the minecart with chest will land. Don't have any blocks right on the other side of the underrail, because it looks like it detects a block here and stops the minecart before the teleport occurs. So when it lands on the other side, it's stuck. So don't have a block here, otherwise you might run into that problem, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and ride back now, and there we go. So everything looks like it's working correctly. So that's how we want to have that set up. So items now in the cart should land and make their way over. So let's go ahead and fill a cart with a bunch of items. So I'm just going to make my player stand here. Maybe too close. Gotcha. Funny, sometimes the minecart breaks, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know what conditions there are. So let's put like a bunch of items in here. Cool. Now when the cart gets over to the track, I'm just going to break this piece. You'll notice he's sitting there, and he's slowly but surely unloading his items directly into the chest. Nice. And then he'll zip away when he's empty. That's exactly what we want to see. I like it. So let's get our items back out of the chest here, and now we want to do something similar on the other side. So let's do this. Hooray. And what I'm going to have set up here is, because the cart lands here, we want to have an item loader underneath one of these locking tracks. And we're going to configure this guy to be a boarding mode. We're going to put the item loader right on top of it. And we're going to do similar configuration. Move all items and only allow the cart to leave when complete, aka when the cart is full. Not when it's complete moving items. I think immediate would send it away when it's full of items, but only when the cart itself is full. So let's take a look. If we had, for example, a few items in here, and it went ahead and filled the cart, in immediate mode, it would now send it away because the item loader no longer has items. Because we're in complete mode, it won't kick the cart away until the inventory is full. Now, if I put a bunch of items in there, you'll notice that it detected the cart's full, and it sent it away. Back at my base, it should be unloading those items into the iron chest, and then sending the cart back, waiting for the cart to get filled up again. And if we head back over there, we should see all those items that I just placed inside the chest. Awesome. That's what we want. So I think that's working exactly the way we want it to. Nice, right? So now what we really need to do is do like some ender conduit craziness, right? And just say, hey, I don't think I need the lever there anymore. That was just a temporary setup for something. So we'll get this item conduit. And of course, like, I could do this a little bit fancier and more efficient, but for the most part, this will work. And there we go. Let's at least make this angle look nice. There we are. So you will be on insert mode. You will be on extract mode. Always active. And what it should be doing now is dumping items via ender conduit into the item loader, which then gets dumped into the chest cart. The chest cart will then, once it's full, send its stuff over. Now, if I wanted to, I could put some of those upgrades in this thing. We know about the upgrade system to move more than one set of items at a time, but I think this will be all right. So overall, we're cruising, right? Yeah, look at that. So while that thing's filling up, let's go ahead and get a liquid unloader. So I'm going to actually stop this for a minute because I do want this guy. Let's see, I want to configure him. There we go. We're going to set you to extract, always active, active with signal. So now it shouldn't be pulling items anymore, right? Cool. And you're just going to hang out and not do anything because you're not full yet. Awesome. Let's head back and get some, whoops, I must have knocked this off. This one I should probably have. There we go. Hooray. All right, let's get the tank system set up. So for this, we're going to need a liquid or fluid loader and unloader. So fluid loader requires glass and the detector tanks and hoppers. Back in a minute once I've got what I need. So right about here, probably, we're going to want another one of these awesome locking tracks. I am liking the fact that this is different from how it worked, by the way, in previous versions of Railcraft. Each one of these different tracks was a different cart. Being able to toggle them with the crowbar is awesome. Anyway, we want an fluid loader. There we go. So fluid loader, that's going to load fluids into a tank cart. And we're going to say force full. Hold carts until completely full versus immediate. So when that's, that's fine. Never emit redstone. Hold empty. Hold carts until completely full. That's definitely what I want. Cool. And this thing is going to basically function very similar. So what we need to do is run some fluid conduits, probably under the ground here, into this spot. So maybe we'll do this. Well, I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Let's do this. That should hopefully work. So I'm going to probably want to jump into bat mode, get some fluid conduits running across. Yeah, that should be good. That should work. And we're just gonna set this guy up to run nice and under the ground. Well, you know what? I'm probably not gonna want this here, so let's... I could, of course, disable the connections there, but I'll just stick with the same Y level. And then come up probably right around here. Hopefully I have enough fluids to handle this. And then we're going to want you to here, and I'll put some facades here to make sure it looks nice. But that should be pretty cool, right? So now all I have to do is come over here and configure this guy. Empty handle, configure it if you don't have a Yeta wrench on you. Just make sure to click on the right spot. Extract, always active. Cool. And what he should be doing now is filling it up. And I'm going to just set this guy to manual, never emit redstone. I don't want him to send the cart away yet, but you can see the cart can hold about 32 buckets worth of liquid, and he's getting filled up pretty nicely. Now, do be careful with these carts. I'm pretty sure if you break them, you will lose the liquid, and we really don't want to lose that much rocket fuel. So let's be careful about that, right? Yeah, we're definitely going to want to be careful about that. Breaking carts with items in them, you get the items back, but I don't think you'll get the liquids back from the tank cart. So definitely be careful. Now on the other side, hooray, we're going to land right about here. So this is where we're going to want to dump our fluids, and I'm going to remove the portable tank that I've got here. We don't really need him anymore. And we're going to want to just plug into a liquid unloader. And we'll have a similar contraption set up with a crowbar, of course. There we go, boarding mode. And we're going to say empty, hold carts until completely empty. Yeah, that's what I want. So we'll let that be. And he'll have an internal buffer of fluid, by the way. So he can hold 32 buckets worth of liquid in his own internal buffer capacitor thing. Let's run the fluid ducts. I'm trying to decide. I don't think I can run 2 fluid ducts in the same block, can I? Probably not. There is a way kind of to do that. I'm definitely going to need more fluid ducts, by the way. There is kind of a way to do that. I'll show it to you guys probably later on when we're more advanced in Ender IO. But I'll probably just want to run it to here. That sound like a plan? And then, yeah, we can just run it straight down. The only thing we'll want to make sure is that you are not connecting to this thing. So let's configure this connection to be disabled. That works. Cool. And then if we want, we can have a couple, generators running in a line, all doing stuff. And we might have to rearrange that later. So let me go make a few more fluid conduits, and we'll be back. All right, so now what I have to do is configure this fluid duct thing to be extract, always active, okay? And then we'll pump it directly into the generator. And like I said, we might have multiple generators eventually. We'll get there later. But for now, what I think we should be ready to do is if we ride across through here, we can check this guy out, and we can say, manual, we're going to say hold empty, force full. When it's full, it zips away. And we can follow it to see what happens. Nice. And we can see the tank cart there emptying its contents into the fluid unloader, I suspect. Yep. So it's probably just dumping it all into the rocket fuel generator here. The conduits are also filling up their internal buffer. There we go, rocket fuel is filling up in the fluid unloader now. And when the cart is full, or empty of rocket fuel, it should get kicked back. Nice. Now, there is one potential issue. If these two carts happen to leave at the exact same time, which I personally think is extremely unlikely, but if that happens, they would probably bump into each other. I don't think it would be the end of the world. They would probably just bounce back, and one would be faster than the other, would eventually make its way through. I think it would be all right. There are ways within Railcraft to handle two carts being on the track at the same time. I don't want to worry too much about that right now. Oh, look, it zipped away exactly like it should have, and I can follow it to see what's happening. There we go. and the rocket fuel is filling back up. Now obviously it's going to wait until the cart's full, so currently we're waiting for more rocket fuel to be produced. We could always increase our rocket fuel production, by the way, if we really needed to, but I don't think that's really necessary because we're going to have plenty of rocket fuel to handle the needs of our quarry. Let's zip on back here and see how you're doing. So this guy, not quite full yet, obviously, because I disabled the output of items. Let's go ahead and check out maybe grabbing something to speed this up. I don't think that's necessary. Let's just set it back to active without signal and see what happens. So what we should wind up with is a bunch of items getting transferred straight over to here. And I'll be back in a minute when this cart's almost full. Alright, looks like we're almost there. So once the cart's full, it doesn't have to have full stacks of everything, but the stacks definitely have to be completely filled up. The cart zips away automatically and lands over here. And then when it's empty, it's going to go back for more. Look at that. It's definitely emptying out faster, by the way, because the item unloaders can transfer stuff faster than the item conduits can, obviously because I didn't put the upgrades in the item conduits to make it transfer stacks at a time. This guy, item conduit speed upgrades. However, my personal opinion, not really necessary to have that on the other side because the quarry is going to, at least currently, be operating slower than the transfer of items from the conduit. So let's let this guy zip away. It should be any second now. There he goes. And we'll see here that obviously it's going to fill up its inventory pretty well. And if we check our cart, we'll notice that we're not filling up with items quite as fast as the item transfers. Obviously, we emptied this cart out. We were even waiting a few seconds while it was emptying out on the other side. So yeah, we'll get items every now and then. But it definitely, the item conduits without upgrades will be able to keep up with the speed of this quarry. And once we have, like I said, a full cart, it should zip away, unload, and then come back and wait to be filled up again. So this, at this point, is 95% fully complete. All I really need to do is find the item conduits that hook into our main system here, which should be up here somewhere. There should be item conduits around this place, somewhere floating around. Hey, there's some. Nice. These are the item conduits that hook into our main system, right? So if we were to run this line over here, so let's do something like bat mode. We can hear that our cart just left. Nice. I really like rail cart systems. Like, they are fun to set up, honestly. Railcraft has some awesome gadgets in it for automation and all kinds of good stuff. Obviously, the system is just working beautifully, right? So it's a fun build to do, clearly. Could I have done this with ender chests and ender tanks? Absolutely. Would it have been as fun? Absolutely not. So we just get up here. Tap into the existing item conduit line, should be fine. All it'll be is like another input chest, if you will. And let me guess, I'm like too short. Yeah, awesome. Can I get this stuff, actually? One, two, nice. Cool. So if we come down here and we tell this thing, extract without signal, nice. Should probably just set it to be always on, right? Always active. And if we come over, we should see any metals automatically being processed. Cool. Now we're fully automated. I like the sound of this thing. So if we take our cart back, and I can put some facades here to cover that up. That won't be too big of a deal. Facades here as well. I'll probably go and grab some of those. Yeah, might not be a bad idea. Let's see what's going on back at the quarry. Oh, it's nighttime. I better check this real quick and get out of here before a creeper sneaks up and destroys all my hard work. That's what creepers do. Oops, I was facing the wrong way. Player cart, where'd you go? Oh, they're landing in there. That's interesting. Alright, so now I have a new input chest, right? Obviously we can input items directly here, and they'll just get processed. We're pretty much good with this build, I think. Like, there's not much else to do. We're done. I do still have this reinforced portable tank, by the way. I'll just put him somewhere for the time being. You know what I could do? So I could just switch this to output mode, and that will help this cart get filled up just that much faster, right? So as you can see, we're back at the quarry. The fluid unloader's internal buffer is filling up, but the tank cart won't be completely empty when that happens. So it won't send the cart away because we have to wait for the cart to be empty. Internal buffer is full. Tank cart still has fluid. Once the tank cart is completely empty, it'll go back, get more fuel, and then come back here. And we're probably producing more rocket fuel than we're using at this point. I haven't automated the production of rocket fuel, but I mean, that's something I can do at some point. It's just a matter of putting liquid or pumping items into the 2 blocks there. We'll get to that eventually. But for now, we have pretty much fully automated this thing. I don't know if it would be a bad idea at this point to maybe grab a couple more generators so we can make this thing run a little bit faster. I think that would be a good idea. Let me go make those off camera and then we'll be back. Alright, so pretty simply, I'm just going to hook up 2 more combustion generators here. We're going to have 2 more fluid ducts here that will hopefully connect into that. There we go, so they should get filled up with water. And then we place down 2 more conduits here that hooked up with that. They should now produce power for us. And let's see. I'm definitely going to want some kind of power line in here. Oh, that's right, I can do this. That should be fine. Let's say power 1, 2, 3 goes into the bottom of the ender quarry. Cool. So now this thing should be running a little bit faster, hopefully. If we take a look here, we should see internal buffers depleting, meaning this thing is, drawing the power pretty quickly. We're producing in total 160 times 3, and these guys can do 640, so we're good in terms of the power use. We could do 1 more generator before we'd have to upgrade to a new energy conduit. But if we look here, I just want to refresh that. Oh yeah, we're definitely moving faster than we were before. Obviously, we're going to be using more rocket fuel, but that's fine. We're definitely generating more ores and more resources faster than we were previously. So I think that's pretty awesome. Nice. All right, I'm going to head back to my base, tidy up a few things, and then we'll be back. All right, guys, just placing down a few of these fancy facades, and now everything should be functional. Nice. So I'm going to call that a complete build. There's really nothing else that needs to be done at this point. The cart here is filling up with resources. The system's running smoothly. We've got plenty of power gen, and our process is running. I think we're good. Alright guys, we are back, and I would like to work on a slightly new build that I should be able to wrap up before the end of this episode, or at least get most of the way done. This is a build that's going to be responsible for getting me some experience. Clearly I've been using quite a few things that require experience, like, anytime I operate this machine, I also would like to get some bow enchanting going on, so there's a lot of things I'd like to use experience for. However, it's not that easy to get. I have to go outside, fight monsters, maybe do a little bit of mining. Now that I've automated most of my mining, I'm probably not going to be getting much experience anymore. So there's a lot of things that are going to be requiring experience. So luckily, Tinker's Construct adds this awesome bush called the Essence Berry Bush. So let's go downstairs and find a place to start placing this thing and see what we can do with it. What do you say? Here looks like a place to go down. I'll be back in a minute once I clear out some terrain. Alright, the first step to building an essence berry farm is finding some essence berries, which luckily we found while we were out mining one day way back in the day. The other thing you're going to need is some way to automatically collect them. So let's take a look at how they work. The first thing I'm going to do is place down my essence berry probably right here. That's going to be a good spot. Now they have to grow to full size. I'm going to recommend you go ahead and use a watering can or even a combination of watering can and let's grab our sigil. That would probably be useful. I have it on me even. Nice. How am I for life points? 23,000. That should be plenty. So let's get this thing cooked on. We will turn this guy on, and hopefully this thing won't take too long to grow. And once it's full-sized, it'll be about the full size of a block. So this is the second stage of growth. It's very similar to the berries that we used early on. There we go, fully grown essence berry bush. Now what's going to happen, just like the berries that we used early on, eventually there will be essence berries cropping up on this thing, and when you right click on it, it will go ahead and remove those essence berries for you. So what we're going to use is an autonomous activator. This is an automated right clicker. So basically what we'll notice is that we're getting essence berries already, so that's pretty cool. It automatically will harvest the essence berries for you. So let's just set up a quick 3x3. It looks like, by the way, I tapped right into that ravine that's right outside my house. I noticed that as I was clearing out this room. That's why I kind of cut it a little bit short. I plan to have this be a little bit deeper, but literally right on the side of this wall is the ravine. and that's no fun. See? So, kind of stuck, but that's okay. We'll come up with something. So, I've got my sigil on, obviously, still, and I'm continuing to collect essence berries, because every time this thing grows, which the sigil is helping it do, I'm getting more and more essence berries out of it. Nice. By the way, watch out standing on them. They do hurt a little bit. So we can just go ahead and plant these essence berries all around on the autonomous activators. Cool. And of course we can use the watering can to help them grow. They're already going to grow a little bit faster, courtesy of the sigil, but with the watering can and the sigil combined, you're definitely going to have some good stuff. Now I don't want to have to stand here all the time and collect these essence berries. So what can I do to handle that? Let's take a look. I'm going to grab the following item. It's called the vacuum hopper. Nice. This guy's cool because he's going to kind of be a dual use thing for us. Oh, I'm getting a little bit full on inventory here and probably going to be soon here too. Let's real quick upgrade these chests. Oops. And I also need an ender pearl, which is not good because I'm running low on them. But real quick, let me upgrade these chests just for storage purposes. Oh, that's right. I did that backwards, didn't I? Got these guys upgraded, you and you. Cool. Anything in here currently? Oh, marble. Yeah, we're going to have to do something about marble. Well, that's fine. You'll actually resort, I forgot. Marble I should throw into a barrel, I think. It's probably a good idea. Alright, so oh, I have an eye of ender. That's cool. That's perfect. And a hopper. And then I just need some obsidian. Cool. I thought I had to go out and hunt some endermen, and luckily I don't. Cool. So vacuum hopper it is. You see I have an extra autonomous activator in my inventory, by the way. That's important to note. Let's also, while we're at it, grab some glass. Do I have any clear old normal glass? I probably should. Yeah, there we go. 4 and 1 piece of copper ought to get me. Cool. Portable tank. And I might even upgrade this guy if I happen to have Invar handy. Maybe I don't have Invar handy? I've got 2 of them, but I need 4 total, so let me get rid of this rain noise, and then we're going to start collecting essence berries. And I'll show you how we're going to turn these essence berries into liquid experience in a very efficient manner. So let's take a look. So first off, right, obviously essence berries are going to be popped off, and we need to collect them. So the best place to do that is probably right above this spot. We're going to go right here. And we're going to place a vacuum hopper. So vacuum hoppers are very nifty gadgets because they will suck up any items that are dropped in a decent range. So if I drop these essence berries, boom, they'll be sucked right into the vacuum hopper. Cool. And from there, we're going to go ahead and activate an autonomous activator. That's actually not where I wanted it. I wanted it on this side. Cool. And we can configure the vacuum hopper. You can see this is the item output side. So I want to configure it. You can hold right click to change this thing around. This is the front. This will be the side. We're going to configure it to dump items in the left. Now all we have to do is configure this guy to accept items from that side. And you'll notice that it's right clicking the essence berries for me because that's how you get experience. If you have this in your inventory and you right click, you get experience from it. It actually winds up dropping the experience orbs. What's cool, and the reason we're using the vacuum hopper for this, is vacuum hoppers can actually also accept the experience. So it looks like we didn't quite get enough, but let's water these things up, and hopefully we can get enough that we'll be able to see on the interface there. So I'm just going to go ahead and water these real quick. You'll see that while watering and having the sigil of the Green Grove, you do get a decent amount of essence berries pretty quickly. And we'll be able to automate this process eventually, and hopefully we'll have a very good source of experience coming in. So let's go ahead and drop that in there. I'm going to move away so that my player doesn't pick up these experience orbs, and you'll see them kind of getting sucked directly into that. What I would like to also do, I'm just going to get out of here because my player is really interacting with this. Cool. I'm probably going to put like a glass wall in front of this. Wow, you're really just not wanting to behave, are you? Let's go ahead and place a tank somewhere. I'm going to put it right on top for now. Oh, come on now. That's funny. Okay. There we go. I'm going to configure... Oh, look, now we've got experience in there. Maybe it was just waiting for a tank to be adjacent to render it. I don't know, but the experience is there, and we can see I'm going to configure this to, and if we look right at the tank, we should see it starting to dump its internal reservoir of experience into the tank. So we want to have this guy in input mode. I don't know why the tank's not updating its render here correctly, but turn this off for a minute and throw these in. So if we watch the tank, we'll see that we're getting liquid experience. So basically what's happening, this render looks like it's not working correctly. I don't know why, but long story short, we're converting the concentrated essence berries into experience orbs that are getting sucked up by the vacuum hopper and deposited in the portable tank. Sweet. I like it. Now from here we have several options. We can create some items that can turn this portable tanks version of liquid into something else for us. So what I could do if I wanted to, snag this real quick. Thank you. And let's go get a tank from OpenBlocks. The OpenBlocks tank itself can be used pretty much directly. I don't know if I have any, so let's get some of this and this. I know it's obsidian and glass, but I don't know exactly what the pattern is. So OpenBlocks tank, there you go. Sure, we'll get 8 of them, why not? Now, what's cool is we can go ahead and put these wherever we want. They're a multi-block structure, so you can build them in whatever pattern you want to build them in. Neat. What I think I'm going to do is have them somewhere where it's easy to access. So, how do I want this to work and function? That's really the tricky part, is how do I want this to behave? I could do something like this, and then wind up piping it over. That would be cool looking, I think. You know, at this point it's going to work however I do it. I just want it to look nice too. But anyway, you deposit your liquid inside the liquid XP tank, and you can see here we've got that done. And when you right click on the tank, see how I got an experience level? Nice, and it's going to drain some of the liquid out. So by right clicking on the OpenBlocks tank, it's going to drain the experience liquid and give me a level until it's, you know, pretty much out. So now that's a nice automated way to get lots of experience. And we can also use this liquid experience for some other purposes in some machines. For example, we could pipe it directly into the slice and splice, and it would use that liquid internal buffer. So we've got a liquid form of experience now that we can use. For now, I'm just going to store my experience there. If I also wanted to convert experience, I could get, I think it's called a drain. The XP drain from OpenBlocks. This would allow me to stand on a tank. And in fact, I might even have enough. Let's see. Yeah, I've got enough that I can demonstrate this real quick. If I stood on a drain on top of a tank, it has to be on an OpenBlocks tank, I think. Did I not craft that? There we go. Place that there when you stand on it, and of course have some experience on me. So let's get like 10 levels of experience, for example. You'll notice all my experience drains into a liquid form. So a couple different ways that we can, you know, store this liquid experience. Lots of different options, obviously. I'm gonna have to kind of come up with a good design idea of where I want this tank to be so that it's both accessible but looks nice, right? So here's probably not a good spot. What I do want to have though is some glass. So let's get, I've been using what? The chisel glass. Do I have any handy? I've got, yeah, quite clear glass ought to work. I wouldn't mind having this set up like so. I can probably even maybe even cover this wall up with some smooth stone. And then the experience won't get, you know, attracted to the player at all, and it'll probably just be overall a nicer experience. We're in furnace mode, good. Alright guys, back in a minute. Let me tidy some things up. Alright guys, we do need to wrap up the episode, but I do want to wrap up on a completed project note, so let's go ahead and just set this up real quick. I'll snap into here, go into bat mode, and we can quickly and easily add some functionality here. Let's hook up this, and I'll put facades here or something to make this look nice. Oh, nice, you're snagging my stuff, thanks. We're going to set output here instead of on top. And then we can pump into a pressurized fluid conduit, right? So we can just do that, to that, to that, to that, and connect this up. Come on now. Connect for me. I know, I'm in bat mode and you hate me for it. Behave now. Thank you. And I'll cover up this wall off camera at the end of the episode here, but ta-da! We've got fancy amounts of liquid. Cool. So now all I have to do, if I'm really urgently looking for some liquid, I just stand near here, flip on this thing, and we'll see that, you know, obviously my player is standing nearby. If I took off my ring of magnetization, that might help out a little bit. But just standing here is definitely going to help out. Now, at some point, I will focus on the automation of... There you go. You can... Yeah, it's fine. Stop it. Ah, all right, I'll fix this. I know what I'll do. Acquire a high redstone signal. Stop doing anything for a minute, would you? Thanks. All right, so like I said, time to wrap up the episode, I think, definitely at that point. So we'll be back next episode to have a little bit of fun, doing all kinds of cool stuff, obviously. I'm going to be using this experience for some cool contraptions at some point in the future, I'm sure. But for now, Darwell20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and as always, take it easy.